Hey guys, it's ArchieLuxury, and today guys I'm doing a paid review, but this is a little bit different paid review. This is some advice on some camera equipment. This is paid review 21QB125, and this here is from Adam, and I'll read you the paid review. We'll do a customary wristwatch check anyhow. Rolex Submariner. Okay, let's jump in. Hi Arch, I'm Adam, a 30-year-old guy from Europe working in corporate finance. My mail might be a bit unorthodox, but I'm not asking for a paid watch review. Instead, I'd like to have your opinion on photography and cameras. I am a big fan of your YouTube videos, the old stuff too, watch videos, travel videos, bangers, weight loss, random stuff, even the Birkins. Ha ha ha! Baby Jesus, what a character you are. I've noticed that besides being a godfather of luxury and watch YouTube, you know a thing or two about cars and photography too. Well, a little bit. A little bit can be dangerous. I'm interested in your take on photography, but as for the exact content, I would leave it up to you. Anything. Are you still interested in photography? How did it start for you? Was it in bangers? Is there a place for DSLR on the current market, or strictly mirrorless, or no place at all, with all the phones having top-notch cameras nowadays? Are you a fan of Leica or only Nikon? He remembers my website, nikonbetterthancanon.com. Do you still have any cameras and lenses? Are you planning to upgrade them, or rather to sell them and get out of the hobby? What would you suggest to a newbie in 2021? Anything on the topic really, as you feel like. Freestyle, ArchieLuxury style. ArchieLuxury take on photography in 2021. Thank you, and wishing you and your family good health. What an interesting topic! And I didn't know anybody actually liked my photography videos. Photography is bloody hard. And I gotta tell you, very interesting indeed. How did I get into photography? I've always liked photography. So I remember my dad had an Agfa camera in the 80s, and my auntie, she had a SLR, she had a Minolta interchangeable lens type camera, and you know, I didn't know much about photography. I remember late 90s, sort of 1999, I said to a friend of mine who worked in an advertising agency, what's the go? And he said, well, basically in digital photography you have something like a Sony Mavica. I still have my Sony Mavica, I had bought one a couple years later after I sold it and bought it and sold it. I bought another one. I wish I had just sold it, to be completely frank with you. It used to save it onto a floppy disk. He said to me, you know, the Sony Mavicas are really good, but for professional photography, it's still film. This was in 98/99. And I remember I bought a camera off him. It was a Nikon SLR. I didn't understand, you know, there was different models for this. I had no real idea. Then, what happened then, fast forward a couple of years, I was working overseas. Again, I was working for this guy then. He had he also had a Sony Mavica. Then, I had a boss who was really into photography at KBR. And he was a Nikon man. And I said, what do I do? And I had a bridge camera. I had a Panasonic bridge camera. When I say bridge, it was like, in those days you used to have point and shoot. That was the basic, point and shoot. Then you had like DSLR, And then you had these bridge cameras, which were better than a point and shoot, but you couldn't interchange the lenses, okay? And I gotta tell you, I remember adding magnifiers onto them there to get more zoom. I wanted to get zoom and stuff like that. And he said, well, if you really want to do photography properly, you need to get an SLR. And he basically said to me at that stage, he said, you either go Nikon or Canon. And I didn't have either system. He said to me, with Nikon, they can use lenses from the old SLR. This is the old film cameras. Whereas Canon, they use a different system. And I kind of thought, you know what? He was a Nikon man, so I decided to go Nikon. And then what happened was I got a Nikon D80, which is a crop sensor camera, and interchangeable lenses. And because Nikon used to have 3000 series, 5000 series, and then they had the D200s, anyhow, he said get the one where it can have the lenses that don't have a motor in them. So that was kind of their semi-professional line. So I got a D80. I had that for a while. Then I upgraded to a D7000, which I really liked. And then, of course, I went to full frame, the D600. And now my camera of choice, I have a Nikon DSLR, This is the Nikon D750, And I gotta tell you, it's been, so this is a DSLR camera. The DSLR camera itself there, so that's my journey, okay? So that's my journey. So the good cameras I had were the D80, which was crop sensor. Crop sensor, basically what that means is, like this here, you have a lens, this is a 20mm lens I've got on here. It's going to be a 20mm. If you put that on a crop sensor, that'd be like a 35mm, because the sensor, that's how they came out originally. They didn't have full frame. Full frame means if you're using a 50mm lens, it's a 50mm lens on a full frame, but on a crop sensor, you got to multiply it. It's a multiply. A lot of the better cameras are full frame. So let me explain this to you. Basically, with cameras themselves, the SLR cameras, single lens reflex, and basically they get that name because the mechanism there, has got this mirror, which that is how the image, when it shoots, when it actually, when you're looking in the viewfinder, the image is actually exactly what you see through the lens, because it uses it's got that prism, a mirror with a sort of pentagon sort of thing that flips it around, and when you look through there, that is exactly what is through the lens. So it's an interesting. That's what an SLR single lens reflex. Now, the thing is this, okay? So let me say this to you. As far as cameras go, I think you really want to, people are saying, are the phones, the phones any good? We're talking about the iPhones, things like that, smartphones. Look, the thing is this, they're very clever. Yes, they are brilliant. However, it gets down to physics. The actual sensor itself, in one of these sort of cameras here, your sensor itself is kind of very small. It's like a 1 cent piece, okay? On a DSLR camera, it's much bigger. So you want a bigger, if you want to get better quality, you've got to have a bigger sensor. That's the reason. So SLR cameras, they get their sizings from 35mm film. That's why a medium format camera, that's those big chunky Hasselblad cameras, that's why they deliver such better results, because they have a bigger sensor than a full frame. So, in my opinion, I've got to tell you honestly, what do I think the answer is there? Well, I tell you what I think the answer is. I think you really need to have a camera that is full sensor. If you're going to go into photography, I think full sensor. Now, the interesting thing you've raised there, very good point, mirrorless camera. So these are new technology which does away with this mirror system itself. Instead of having the viewfinder, it uses an electronic viewfinder, which is like the live view on a DSLR. So the reality is there, I think as far as sensors go, you want to have full frame. And if you want really, really super duper cameras, you would go even better again, medium format, like the Hasselblads. A Hasselblad Hasselblad full medium format camera is about $36,000, I remember. That's what they were, massively expensive. Now, in my view, Canon or Nikon? Look, I would generally say most people go one system or the other. I like to, I'm a Nikon man, Nikon. That doesn't mean Canon's garbage. Canon or Nikon are very, very competitive. Canon makes more lower end cameras, a lot more point and shoot, a lot more basic cameras. But in the higher end cameras, they're both fairly good. I generally think myself, the thing I like about these are called DSLR cameras, I would want full frame. Now on the Nikons itself, it's got a big FX full frame. The wonderful thing about this is full frame cameras, they are relative bargains. Because I've got the D750. If you want to experiment with this hobby, well, guess what? You can get, this here is a D600. You can get this here so cheap. So cheap. You can buy a second-hand D600, which is a 24 megapixel camera, second-hand for under $1,000. Pretty damn good, because I think to get quality, you really need to have a full sensor. So to answer your question there, I think yes, smartphones are amazing. And the beautiful thing about smartphones is we usually have one with us. But if you want to start to play with photography and have more controls on it, you really need to have interchangeable lenses and you need a full frame sensor. So I think if you're going to play with photography as a hobby, you're better off to get full frame camera with interchangeable lenses. And when I say interchangeable, that means you can take off a lens, put another lens on. It's that's how you sort of get to play with the hobby really nicely. The question is, there's two systems now. We've got DSLR and mirrorless. Now, mirrorless, instead of having this mirror system, it's basically using a live view. Now, I got to be honest with you, what is better? The mirrorless cameras themselves are making huge improvements, and I think you'd have to be crazy not to see that mirrorless will probably kill DSLR, okay? But the advantage of DSLR at the moment is, especially with Nikon, these are amazing bang per buck on the secondary market. Interchangeable lenses, you can use lenses from many decades. You can use lenses from, you can use old glass without an adapter, no adapters or bits, because when you normally add adapters, you generally start to lose things, okay? You're losing quality and functionality. So, as far as these cameras go, I would say if you want to play with the hobby, a second-hand DSLR is great buying. I'd want a full frame, and you could play with some lenses, and you can learn the craft. If, however, you're thinking of maybe you go mirrorless, now the reality is Sony, they actually make the sensor, I believe, is a Sony sensor in the Nikon. So Sony, they've got some amazing mirrorless cameras. Now, at the moment, the mirrorless is doing amazing stuff. I tend to think mirrorless is better for video. See, DSLRs can also do filming. The mirrorless probably does it a bit better, okay? And the mirrorless itself, they tend to be more compact because you don't have that mechanism, that mirror and thing mechanism. And I got to tell you, I think for photography, to hone your skills, you're probably better to have a DSLR to play with. Quite reasonable in price on the secondary market. You can, with Nikon, you can use so many lenses. It's amazing. I think eventually mirrorless will kill off DSLR. However, with the mirrorless cameras, they're using, you'd want to get one with a full frame sensor. You don't want a crop sensor in a mirror, because they have mirrorless with crop and mirrorless with full sensor. You'd really want, if you want to do mirrorless properly, you'd really have to get a full frame sensor. And you can use all sorts of lenses, but you need adapters, which, as I said, I don't like that. And the mirrorless itself, the main advantage of DSLR over mirrorless at the moment is that the start time, if I want to start shooting, if I want to start photographing something with this camera here, if it's, how long does it take to do? It's like, boom, turn the switch, you're on, you're ready to go. The downtime is amazing. With most of the mirrorless cameras, you're looking at about 2 to 3 second minimum to start shooting. So sometimes if you want to get a shot, the DSLR can be fast to start up. The other thing with the DSLR is because they use that mirror system as the for the viewfinder. When you look in the viewfinder, it's using that mirror. The big thing I've always loved about DSLR is what you see is what you get. On mirrorless, that isn't always 100%. It's not always 100% the same. They are better now. They are better now. The other thing is they tend to chew batteries a lot more. A mirrorless camera is more battery hungry than a DSLR. And DSLRs can last 2 to 3 times longer on the one charge compared to a mirrorless camera. So I think DSLR has the thing I like DSLR because it takes me back to the film days. I like the idea that it's using the mirror, the technology like that. I like access to the lenses, and they're relatively good buying on the secondary market. You can pick a D600, a D610, a D750 up pretty cheap. Pretty cheap. Bang per buck is amazing. So I gotta say this. I think mirrorless will probably kill DSLR eventually when the battery life can be the same as DSLR. I suppose in some regards, I think mirrorless may become faster than DSLR because it doesn't. If it's got that mirror mechanism, that's something that takes time. So, I mean, they're pretty amazing. DSLRs have amazing shooting speeds now, but I think the foundations are that mirrorless will become faster and kill off DSLRs. Now, it's hard to say. I think there's a certain niceness to DSLRs. I don't know whether they will die out or not, but I think mirrorless does a better job with filming filming movies, moving pictures, video. They don't use that term video. Filming, but for photography itself, there's something I like about a DSLR. I think they're a great bit of fun. So I think the future is mirrorless. It definitely is. But I think if you want to get into the hobby and play with it, DSLR can be a lot of fun as well. So I haven't gone mirrorless. In many ways, those old point and shoots that you had, they are actually a mirrorless camera, but they're at the bottom end of the spectrum, see? And the new mirrorless cameras like the Sonys, they're amazing cameras. Nikon has released their own mirrorless, same as Canon. So it's I think myself, I got a system. I got a number of lenses, half a dozen lenses. I got 2 bodies, a D600 and a D750. I probably, I play with that for a bit. Would I get a mirrorless camera? See, the problem is I'd probably want to get new lenses for it. I just wait and see how it goes there. Probably not at the immediate, not immediately. So, is there a place for DSLR? I think there definitely is, especially on the if you want to look at it pre-owned. Mirrorless still has a few drawbacks. As I said there, it takes a couple seconds to start up, and also the battery life is significantly less. Are you a fan of Leica? Leica makes some amazing equipment. Leica was always the rich person's camera. Nikon was famous for going to the Vietnam War. That's what a lot of war correspondents used. Am I a fan? Leica makes amazing glass, and they've had a partnership with Panasonic for a long time. I've got a friend of mine who's a Nikon guy, Descartes. He's also got a Leica. He said it's amazing, literally amazing. Leica had a camera, the monochrome, an M camera, which just did black and white. It didn't do color. It was a digital camera that only did black and white. And it costs a fortune. Crazy, crazy, crazy. What do I see? Look, I like my photography. I'd like to have more time to play with it. I used to like it. I've tended to be very busy and in a hurry. I want to slow down a bit. And I would love to play with the cameras. I enjoyed it. I did enjoy it. I did enjoy cameras. I think the future is definitely mirrorless, but DSLR is a real quirky thing too. It's kind of, I like it. I like the quirkiness of it. So I wouldn't just write DSLR off just yet. If I was getting into photography now, I'd probably go mirrorless. If I was buying lenses and a system, probably. But I'd want to get a full frame mirrorless. I don't think I'd want to go with a crop sensor. If you're going to go crop sensor, you're better off to go with a second-hand DSLR full frame. That's the way I see it. Leica stuff, amazing, beautifully made. It's something that's been so expansive. It's kind of the Patek Philippe of the camera world there. So, yeah, I must confess, I've been in awe of their stuff. The results you see are incredible. But, you know, the funny thing is, Leica, with their film cameras, they used a viewfinder, which was never as good as an SLR camera. The viewfinder was a different lens it looked through than the actual, the lens that shot the photo. So there were certain things about Leica. The digital Leica stuff is amazing. As I said, they're in partnership with Panasonic for a lot of things. Amazing glass, amazing. I've always sort of stayed with Nikon. I suppose it's one of those things. Funnily enough, I used to be on Purist Pro, which is a Patek forum, and one of the guys had a Leica there, and he took bloody awful macro shots with it. I think honestly, the Leica excels as a landscape portrait type camera, street photography camera, whereas for macro work, you really want to get something like a D800 or D850 or a D810, that sort of Nikon camera. You want to have a full frame, big pixel. That's the answer to macro photography. So, yeah, I like it. I haven't had time to play with it. I don't know. It's one of these things. I'd love to have time. I've got to actually make some time to do some photography. I must do that. Okay, guys, that's the video. I hope it helps there. I hope I've answered your question. And I'll see you in the next one. I miss photography. Maybe I should go out one day, take some photos. But my current system, I got the Nikon DSLR. I'm happy to stay with that. I'm not craving to get a mirrorless setup just at the moment. So I got a little bit of time left to do that. Okay, guys, I'll see you in the next one. Like, subscribe, and tell your friends. Thank you, Adam, for the paid question. And if you've got any other questions anyone else has, I'm happy to do it. I'll make a video on anything. I'll try my best. And hopefully you find the video useful. Okay, guys, see you in the next one. $50 US. I can't survive on Google Ads. Look in the description below. $50 US. I'll make a video and answer any query you want. Hi guys, ArchieLuxury on the Paul Pluta channel. Guys, I desperately need to do more paid reviews. The backlog is pretty well non-existent. Guys, I desperately need to do paid reviews. I charge $50 US for a paid review. I'll tell you what I think of your collection. I'll give you some additions and I'll answer some questions you may have about your collection. This could be a perfect Christmas gift for a friend. Send me details on their collection. Send me details of what they've got, and I'll give you some advice. Guys, this could be a great present to give somebody. And also, guys, if you've never had a paid review from ArchieLuxury, man, this could be a great way for you to get a paid review and share it with all your friends. Guys, I desperately need some more paid reviews. The cupboard is bare. I don't have many left at all to do. I desperately want to do more paid reviews. Please get a paid review request in. Email me, ArchieLuxury72@gmail.com. PayPal to the same address. It's $50 US, and I'd love to tell you what I think of your collection. I'm ArchieLuxury. See you in the next paid review. Urgently, guys, I need some paid reviews. Hey guys, ArchieLuxury. We're gearing up to Christmas, and I want to tell you about ArchieLuxury advertising packages. Advertising packages. So guys, let me give you the drum. Let me give you the squirt. Let me tell you the story. So, what have we got here for you? We got some really good packages. What have we got? Advertising packages. Do you want a 15-second insert? 15-second insert into every ArchieLuxury video and Paul Pluta channel video. 15-second insert into each video. $200 for a month. $200 for a month. If you want a rolling script, every video for a month, $100 for the month. You'll get your rolling script into each video I produce. Fridge space. Fridge space is pretty full at the moment. I will be advising when I'm taking more fridge advertisers. Let me know if there's any Christmas deal I can do for you. I'm ArchieLuxury. Advertise and become a winner.